Kamusta aking makaibigan? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Singer Dad Reacts. My name is Josh. Thank you for your patience waiting for me to get back on track with my reactions. I've had a lot going on lately, and um, been neglecting my channel and been sick, and different things have been going on with my studio space and things like that. So glad to be back. Um, and I'm excited to do another reaction of Marcelito Pamoy. Um, all of you Marcelito fans out there have been waiting patiently, and I appreciate that for me to get back to him. The last one I did, Power of Love, um, was amazing, of course. So what went into me choosing Beauty and the Beast. So my wife is actually the musical director for a local high school, and they just finished their run of Beauty and the Beast. And so a lot of those songs obviously are in my head, and I'm actually working on a cover that I'll post to my channel of the song Evermore from the live action version of Beauty and the Beast. So look for that to come. Um, yeah, so I wanted to jump in with this. For those of you that have been here before, you know that part of what I do at the beginning of my reactions is I read through the lyrics and I talk about what the message of the song is and what the songwriters are trying to communicate to us or touch us with or inspire us with, or those types of things. So before I jump into the lyrics, just so that you know, if you're new to my channel, if you're not into this part of my reaction, the lyrics part, then feel free to skip forward. I have chapters indicated on the YouTube video that you can easily skip forward and go directly to the reaction. So if that's you, feel free to scroll ahead, skip, and go to the next chapter. Thank you. So Beauty and the Beast, songwriters, the geniuses, Alan Menken, Howard Elliott Ashman. The lyrics I have here are tale as old as time, true as it can be, barely even friends, then somebody bends unexpectedly. Just a little change, small to say the least, both a little scared, neither one prepared, Beauty and the Beast. Ever just the same, ever a surprise, ever as before, and ever just as sure as the sun will rise. And then that part repeats itself here. They were just the same part. Tale as old as time, tune as old as song, bittersweet and strange, finding you can change, learning you were wrong. Certain as the sun, rising in the east, tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast, and then it repeats. A lot of profound kind of thoughts and nuggets in here, if you will, that we can all learn from. Bittersweet and strange, finding you could change, learning you were wrong. I think in any relationship, those are keys to kind of understanding, okay, I can change, I can be better. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I need to have a better attitude or have a better perspective on the situation, have more empathy for my partner, have more of a forgiving heart and kindness in the way that I approach our relationship and the way that I serve this person, and look for the best in them, right? So I think that's kind of the overall feeling, and the school. I've got to do a shout out to American Heritage School, where my wife is the musical director. They did an amazing job with their production, and it was very touching. The actors portrayed this very well as far as kind of showing that love between these characters and showing Belle as this character that can look beyond the outward appearance of the beast and the flaws and so forth, and finding that tenderness and the good qualities that the beast brought and fostering that love, right? So um, yeah, props to them. It was an amazing production. If you're in this, if you're in that in the Utah area where I'm at, um, you've got to see the next show they do, because this group puts on an amazing show. Um, anyway, so that's my take on this song. It's pretty straightforward. So with that, I will jump into the reaction. For those of you that are new to my channel, or if you haven't already, if you could please click on the subscribe. I've got my studio set up now, and I'm back on track, and um, I'm going to be focusing on my channel a lot more. I'm doing another reaction after this one that I'm going to post later on this week. I'm looking at doing another Dimash reaction. So those of you that are eagerly awaiting another Dimash reaction, I'll be posting that soon here. And I'll continue to try and do at least a couple a week moving forward. So again, thanks for your patience.
Yes, Marcelito.
Let's see how much these judges freak out.
Wow.
Wow. This tone is so resonant.
Just a little child.
And there's the Peabo Bryson voice.
Small to say the least, but a little scared. Neither one prepared. Beauty and the Beast.
What's crazy is he's able to really like change the timbre and the texture of his tone to fit the singer that he's performing for, right? So this case, Peabo Bryson. Of course, the other reaction I did was to the prayer where he was doing Andrea Bocelli, and he sounded a lot like him. And here he's changed his tone, and these are not similar tones. I mean, Peabo and Andrea, very different voices, but you can tell that he has really good ears, and he has really good, and I've mentioned this before, I think, really good instincts about how to change the tone of his voice and manipulate his larynx and the different parts of the voice that control the timbre and the texture of the tone, right? So the tongue, the space, the the placement and all the different aspects of that. So props to him. And I read back through some of your comments from my earlier reactions, and I agree with you. I think Marcelito deserves the recognition that he gets. He's comes from simple beginnings, and he's worked his tail off to get to where he is. And I want nothing for the best for him. I think it's a wonderful story to kind of see someone like him rise up and work really hard and be where he's at. So this is impressive. His tone, though, like I was saying, it's really like, I want to say resonant, but that's not the word I'm thinking. It's more kind of it's almost kind of a sharp tone. It's not like you might be thinking like twangy sharp, like bright, but I'm thinking more like kind of just piercing. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but he's got a really good tone. I'm going to go back a little bit here.
Small to say the least, but a little scared. Neither one prepared. Beauty and the Beast.
And he just flips between, no problems. It's crazy. Wow, that's a hard transition he just did right there. Wow. See her? That was awesome. Look at these judges, they're just freaking out. Look at Simon's face. He doesn't know what to think. Um, yeah, that one transition he did where he was in kind of his upper register, his head voice, and then he jumped down, but he jumped down to the higher part of his chest voice for Peebo Bryson's part, for the male part. That's tricky. That's hard. It's one thing to kind of come down kind of in the middle of your chest voice or in kind of that area there where it's a little more comfortable and then work your way up after you're there. But to actually come down from being up at the head voice and then jump down to the top part of your chest, that's not easy at all. None of what he does is easy, but that's harder than some of the other things. So let me go back here so I don't miss anything. This is amazing. He's got a very unique talent. It's crazy.
You can change, learning your own.
Did a little run there. Nice. Heidi. Oh, that was smooth.
Beauty and the
So he switched it up. Nice. Hear that resonance? Good breath control. Wow. Wow. I'm going to pause it there. Sorry I'm pausing, but if you know how things work on YouTube, the algorithms, they will block you, especially on these types of videos. If you don't pause occasionally, then your video will get blocked and it'll never see the light of day. Wow. He's got a special gift. I mean, I enjoy watching other reactors kind of react to some of the songs that I've reacted to for him and seeing what their take is, because all of us are just like shocked and surprised by what he can do with his voice, because it's very difficult to do what he does where you're just switching very quickly between the registers and also the voice types and the timbres, right? So he's not just switching in from one register to the other, he's switching and also carrying with that switch the timbre and the texture of that voice type that he's portraying here. The Peebo and Celine in this case. So, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so I don't know if I agree with Simon on that. I mean, I think I know what he's talking about, where you can kind of like push the limits of your range. Do I felt like Marcelito did that? It's hard to say because I don't really know kind of what those limits are. If those of you that have watched a lot more of his performances can kind of speak to that and say, okay, yeah, Josh, he's saying some stuff that's a lot higher than that, and more challenging with more riffs and runs and things like that, then that would be good. That would be good to know. Because that would help me with some context as far as knowing how correct Simon is with what he's saying there. Because I have watched the show enough, and between this show, American Idol, and all these different shows, and that is one thing that's consistent, where it's like you want to really bring it in and show what you can do and kind of stretch your voice and your capabilities and all of that. So, but for me, as far as like what he did and the quality of his voice, I feel like he's very unique, and what he can do is crazy, and he does it well. The pitch and the control and all the different aspects. Is he like formally trained in all of that? No, and a lot of you have kind of chimed in on that. But as some of you have commented, I mean, he's worked really hard for what he's accomplished and what he can do with his voice, and so I have to give him props for that. And it was another performance that was just crazy, and I was I was reminded how just incredible he is and how unique his ability is. And I think that's, if anything, as far as my opinion of Marcelito, I feel like he has really good instincts to kind of choose to do this because it's so unique. You don't see singers do this, just like Heidi was saying, right? You don't see singers, kind of using both, their different registers in that way where they're bouncing between them like that to kind of use, to sing multiple voices and things. So I think that's really smart of him to do that because it is unique and it does bring the wow factor, right? So with that, continue to provide your comments down below as to what other songs you want to see me react to from Marcelito Pomoy. I'd love to hear more about kind of where he's at and how well he's doing and all of that. And before my next reaction, I'll go ahead and watch an interview or two with him to kind of, see where he's at and get a little more of a sense of his personality. Sometimes I'm leery to do that because in a lot of these interviews, they'll actually play some of their recent songs, little tidbits and stuff of them. And I don't want to hear those before I have a chance to react to them, right? So that's why I'm leery sometimes to watch some of these interviews and stuff. But yeah, if you guys can comment on that as to kind of where he's at and what he's up to, that would be great. And I'll close this reaction as I do with all of my reactions by letting each of you know that you need to know that you are special, you are loved, and you can accomplish your dreams. And I hope that each of you knows that and you have others around you supporting you and encouraging you with those positive beliefs and providing you the love that you need to be happy and safe and encouraged with the things that you're pursuing in your life. Believe in yourselves. You are great. There is greatness in you. You need to discover that as you pursue your dreams. But I know that that is in each of you, and we can all accomplish these things. We just have to believe and work hard. So thanks again for your support, and take care.